With unemployment at a record low, many Americans are finding it easy to find a job. But some prospective workers who don't want just any job, they're often finding barriers in obtaining employment. One America's Hines has more on that from Washington.
Ted Ellis of the libertarian outreach group Americans for Prosperity told One America News that occupational licensing requirements for low-skilled jobs may be keeping some workers trapped in poverty.
Our issue is at base, breaking down barriers that stop every person from achieving their full potential. Occupational licensing is a barrier that stands in the way, and particularly for those who are the least well off and have the fewest resources to fight it, it's a really significant barrier that can be really difficult to overcome.
Difficult to overcome, says Ellis, who believes that these regulations, though possibly well-intended at one time, may now cause more harm than good.
Back in the 50s, about 1 in 20 Americans had to be subject to occupational licensing. Today, we find that 1 in 4 Americans are subject to occupational licensing, and that's just too high. Economists at the University of Princeton and the University of Minnesota found that occupational licensing keeps 2.8 million people out of the workforce every year and costs consumers over $200 billion annually.
Occupational licensing initially served as a barrier to the workforce, ensuring high-skilled workers were properly trained and therefore less likely to make mistakes. But Ellis says that now these regulations have extended beyond reasonable areas of employment.
Across the states, the average cosmetologist has to spend 384 days in training to become a cosmetologist, whereas the average EMT spends only 34 days in training. If someone gets their hair cut poorly or their nails done poorly, that's really something that the market can fix rather than government having to step in with a one-size-fits-all, overly burdensome, solution.
Ellis adds that Americans for Prosperity has produced a video series about removing licensing barriers and is promoting legislative changes state by state to open up licensing procedures, hopefully creating more employment opportunities for lower-income workers. John Hines, One America News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.